Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Strategic Feminine here on YouTube. And of course, I like to focus on all things feminine, all things girly, all things womanly in essence. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the rest of the video. So I had the pleasure of watching Mayowa's World, and of course, as another colorism content creator here, I wanted to just analyze her idea of, basically she was talking about Olandria and Love Island, and she was making the claim that people or mainstream only accepts Black, dark-skinned women, monoracial, I'm pretty sure she's talking about as well, West African coded features, if it's on a nice body. And, I understand, wanting to be an advocate for colorism. I also understand wanting to be body positive as well and having that as part of your platform. I happen to do that here on my channel. But what I can't stand to see is content creators, especially other dark-skinned women in the sector, be intellectually dishonest, just be dishonest, period, about why dark-skinned women with nice bodies get catapulted into success over Z-tier bodies.
Dark-skinned women have bad media representation. I'd rather for a hot dark-skinned girl with a banging body represent dark-skinned women than an ugly, out-of-shape one. Why is everyone allowed to have good representation but dark-skinned women? And I think that there's this movement online of girls who feel like dark-skinned women have terrible representation, and the terrible representation that they have in mind is anyone who is not very skinny. And so this tweet kind of I feel like it's saying the quiet part out loud, which is people do not want to see dark-skinned women if they are not very skinny and their body is not giving a really stereotypically curvy, skinny body. A couple weeks ago, I did a workshop on colorism where I was talking about when you're dark skinned, there's often a balancing scale that happens. I feel like people feel like there's this feeling that if you're dark skinned, you have to be very skinny and your body has to be very perfect, as in skinny and curvy, right? And when I say perfect, I don't mean perfect to me. I'm talking about Eurocentric standards of beauty, right? So a stereotypically curvy, skinny body.
And see, they tried to make this same argument with Slim Kim and the New York statue, okay? They're basically trying to say that anything or any Black woman who is slender or slim, she's trying to appeal to European-centric standards of beauty. That is not true. That is false. That's a lopsided argument, ma'am, okay? Because there are people outside of, in the European community, that are not slim, okay? Never have been, never will be. You have people in the Black community who are naturally slim and slender. And that is just who we are. We're not trying to appeal to anything, Mayowa. So it makes no sense. And they do this because a lot of them feel like skinniness is hard to obtain or impossible for them to obtain. So they start with the self-hatred again, where they put anything that's positive onto white standards of beauty. Oh, if she's pretty, she's Europeanly standard pretty. No, she's not. She's a pretty Black girl. You want to make her features seem European because you're uncomfortable with exceptional Black, dark-skinned representation dominating in the same field that you are. And that is not fair, and that's not the case. And that's why a lot of these women get upset when Black women start talking about being slim, because they see it as something that's inherently white instead of seeing it as something that's just beautiful. Something that beautiful people do. They slim. And then that's also how you put other people on pedestals. That's why Black, dark-skinned women with nice bodies, we get put on a pedestal because you guys make us infamous. You make it seem like we're unicorns in the community, like we don't exist. So that way, when people spot us out, they recognize us as the exceptional beauty pillars. Now, to me, man, I'm just going to be for real, and no other community, group of people, entertainment cycle, media, or what have you, do you see the undesirable group of people being represented over exceptional, desirable representation? I don't care who, what community, where you're talking about, which time period it is. It's always going to be the most exceptional, the most cream of the crop. It's going to be those women or those bodies of people who get the most representation, sympathy, and privileges as we live in a world that goes off, what was the word that they were calling it? They was calling it lookism. That goes off lookism. If we're going to be honest, as attractive people or in an attractive state, you get treated better. So for them to be dishonest about this happening on a macro scale, it makes no sense to me personally. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me. Because what they're basically arguing, a lot of these dark-skinned women, they did it with the statue situation, which she also brought up, is that they're arguing that the undesirable black woman be the main face of media and source of black woman representation. And if for any reason that black women with beautiful bodies, nice long hair, desirable dark-skinned black women, still of the race, get majority of the press, they get upset about that too. And I hate to bring Gabourey to debate in this, but let's take a look at the precious archetype, right? I feel like so many people, and this is a personal psychological theory of mine, most people are comfortable with this archetype of black woman. This archetype of black woman is non-threatening to black men, non-black women, non-black men, and even other black women who look similar or better than the precious archetype. So you'll sit here and have majority of black women against their own grain try to fight to have this type of representation, negative, downtrodden, blah, 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 all on black women's TV wave screens. And then they will cry, put on fists, do everything when there's exceptional black women in the space. They'll be like, well, we want to see other black women. But then y'all don't act to see the other non-black women in these same types of ways. Mama June, nobody ever pedestalized Mama June. And then she even got hot and lost all that weight, and it still didn't change anything, right? Why? Because white women are not going to flock to have women like Mama June, even if they look just like her, to be the exceptional representation for all of the community. So when y'all sit there and y'all do that, and then y'all was praising this statue, even though majority of us don't look like her, y'all feel better with this type of representation. It makes you feel better. Okay, fine. So when y'all have y'all spaces for the BBW black women to be exceptional and be on the main stage, we're going to accept that. But when it's time for slim black women to be on the main stage, you have to stop trying to downplay their exceptional beauty. And before we get into it, Gabourey Sidibe is an exceptional beauty despite her weight. Same thing with Lizzo. They're both pretty privileged, even though they are bigger. So that's why I'm pretty sure Gabourey Sidibe knocked out other women in, the competitive black space for overweight because she has a pretty face. You know what I'm saying? There are just certain privileges that come along with entertainment. And y'all have to stop being so rejectory against basic female privileges. Okay, because they fight tooth and nail saying that they want positive representation. Then when they get it, they pick apart the positive representation because they do not measure up to it. So most people, if I walk into a room and they were expecting a precious type of black woman, I'm automatically getting the cold shoulder. Okay, even amongst other black women, this is how skinny shaming happens, because y'all make it seem like skinny black women are trying to appeal to a European standard of beauty or just all that special, all that unicorn and stuff. So then y'all get offended at skinny black women. Then y'all have to tear them down by way of skinny shaming. So then, they wonder, well, why does black women need positive representation? Because most black women are really not comfortable with exceptional black women, especially within dark skin, being in the space. They're more comfortable with women like Beyonce being seen as pillars of beauty. But then when it gets to a dark-skinned woman, now we need her to be shaped or sized like Lizzo in order to be appreciated amongst only black women. Black women will reject this type of representation, even though it's good for them. So how this usually rubs off in real life too. So you see a lot of black women, they like to shame the skinny, woman for naturally being skinny or petite or naturally fitting the more conventional beauty standard, because that doesn't fly as 80% of the black community is overweight, right? So what a lot of y'all are doing is y'all are literally harping on the desirable black woman. Y'all are denying your own privileges, right? For whatever reason you choose to, you're denying your own privileges within this world, and you're choosing to be on the undesirable side. And now you're asking for undesirable women to be a black women's main source of inspiration, media, and press cycles. That's not going to happen. Most people in reality TV show are attractive and slim. So you're not going to pick out the one dark-skinned girl that you want her to be bigger. That doesn't make any sense. A lot of you guys are comfortable with negative images of black women. You're comfortable with insecure dark-skinned black women. You're comfortable with black women rejecting their pretty privilege. But my channel is not for the black women rejecting their pretty privilege. I'm for the black women who embrace their pretty privilege with open arms. And I think that's why a lot of these women do get jealous or be accused of being jealous, because you guys pick out the desirable black woman to make like an example out of when you claim that you want positive reinforcements to come from your colorism content. So if you're making colorism content, was it not for dark-skinned black women to have more representation? But if we have dark-skinned black women represented on a love show, looking beautiful, desirable, and exceptionally beautiful, now we have to pick her apart and tear her down because most people can't acquire that. Well, because most dark-skinned black women can't acquire this level of beauty, it doesn't deserve to be in media at all. Or then these same women will say that the pretty privileged dark-skinned monoracial black women are only so due to European standards of beauty, unfairly so. So then they'll try to attribute full black people's features to European standards yet again. This is where we call y'all self-hating. Y'all are not willing to accept the beauty in your own race, and then you have to unfairly attribute it to something that Europeans did when it has nothing to do with that. Okay? Certain girls' features, especially in the monoracial scale, you know what I'm saying? We have a spectrum. So, like, I don't understand what people are really wanting. Unattractive is unattractive, okay? You saw a lot of them making that sideways argument on the Granite and the Star statue in New York City.
Are the skinny, light-skinned, pretty black women with bust downs? Why do we have to be the first group of people to allow fat, undressed nicely, sloppy, no bra wearing black women, dark skin, represent us? Nobody else. Let's other different types of body types represent them. Why do we have to do the right thing? Why can't we be like white people? Why can't we limit ourselves and limit what beauty means like white people do? It's not like for the longest time, skinny, light-skinned women have been our representation for blackness this whole time in the media and in beauty space. When are we going to represent the black women with perky boobs and big butts and small waists? We don't already do that. And don't forget the long hair. Remember that some black women have long hair. We don't all have short, nappy hair.
Can you guys see the internalized self-hatred just leaking out through this video? You see how she naturally attributed long hair, slimness, and a pretty face to light skin? And this is why, right? We're never beating those allegations. Them crybaby allegations, they're not getting beaten. Not by these groups of people. They want to erase exceptional beauty within black women and make them the face of it, even though they don't fit the mold. Even though you don't have the beauty class to be considered exceptional representation, you want that tacket on your jacket anyway. You want to erase the actual exceptional, beautiful, dark-skinned black women in the space so you can fit yourself into that mold. That's all it is, right? They want to be the exceptional black representation of beauty. That's what they want. And that's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. That's why y'all completely nag the pretty girl. That's why y'all sit there and when y'all see a slim black woman, you have to resort to skinny shaming and all that type of stuff. These are the types of women, these are the ideologies that support all that stuff I talk about on my channel. That's it. So you had the overweight black woman basically trying to say that, they don't need, it doesn't need to be slimmer. It should just be okay as is. And that if Onoki was up there, they wouldn't be able to relate to it. Okay, so you don't get to pull that card again when it's slim representation. Okay, this woman is naturally slender and slim. She's also dark skinned and she benefits from pretty privilege. And the thing about Mayowa's world is she's also very pretty. You can tell she's nonconformist because of her hair. And I do believe that certain women, they feel burned by, the beauty industry or beauty privileges entirely. Like she talked about how she used to be a model and she felt like she had to conform. They end up becoming so rebellious to basic feminine privilege to the point where they make everything a dark skin thing when really it has to be more rooted in your hatred for being a pretty woman. Like you just hate the treatment of pretty woman. Let's just be for real. And I can understand as another pretty woman understanding not liking to have to be fit into certain boxes. I understand SJWs, nonconformist women, why they go out their way to be seen as non-conventional. But what you can't do is reject the other women, especially the dark-skinned black women who are accepting their feminine privilege full force. So part of these feminine privileges is being attractive, being fit, being seen as exceptionally beautiful and desirable, and then using media space to make money. So y'all don't mind when there's any other celebrity, light skin, mixed race, whatever, doing this type of thing. You had black women, before I forget, saying that Meghan Markle was helping them accept their arrest era. Are you serious? So y'all don't mind when admixed or mixed race black women are the center of desirability. Well, no, y'all complain then, but y'all are more comfortable with that. But then when you have beautiful, dark-skinned, slim, long-haired black women, saying, hey, I'm desirable, I'm black, I don't feel no type of way about my skin color. Then y'all are going to try to make up mental gymnastics about why, she's only seen as desirable through like some fixed Jick scale. Most women who are slim are going to be seen as desirable. Most women who have these pillars of beauty are going to be courted and attracted, or, attracting more people or whatever, getting more attention, blah, blah, blah. And you understand this Mayowa's world as a previous model. You wanting to reject the feminine privilege, it doesn't mean that other women don't get to utilize it. That's just not how that works. So I feel like, what else this happened? This happened with that Pop the Balloon show too, where, the man was saying that he just wanted longer hair, and all the black women literally jumped on him and saying, well, you're making this a black woman thing. I don't want you talking about no black woman's hair, blah, blah, blah. They basically made it a political argument that men like long hair in the black community. Are you serious? As if there's not black women walking around all the time that have long hair that get courted by men. Like, this is where the fallacies start to crack. Because they say that they want all of these beautiful, pretty privileged black women to be in media until they see them. And then all of a sudden they have to pick them apart. And they do this in real life too, because these images of beautiful, dark-skinned, fit, long-haired black women are not obtainable to the average or below average black woman. So they are so insecure that they have to make it seem as though you enjoying these images of black women who are conventionally attractive and desirable is like a guilty pleasure of yours. No. Another place where I feel like Mayowa was being intellectually dishonest. Okay, everybody on Love Island is in good shape. So you picked out Olandria yet again. You made it seem like, the audience was wrong for consuming content regarding these beautiful dark-skinned women with nice shapes. You are basically trying to politicize this yet again by saying that any of these women's features are attributed to Eurocentrism. You are now also trying to say that, when black women get complimented about their body, it's insulting. You are basically saying that black women should reject any and all feminine privilege because it's not politically correct. I'm sorry, ma'am, we cannot do that. I reject your request. Please, go to the back. Unfortunately, there are going to be extremists, okay? I do believe that there's a little hateration. I can feel it all the way. Because, again, you made this take, you're targeting Olandria, and I personally feel like you look a lot like her. And I do believe that, sometimes it could be a little bit of regret, allegedly. It could also just be like feeling rejected in a space, and then you see the new generation being able to utilize, these dark skin privileges in a way that hasn't been, done before. I grew up in a time of Bad Girls Club, y'all. There was no black girls on screen. And if they were black, they were light skinned. And if they were on the screen, there was negative things said about their blackness. And it was just really a bad time, okay? So this colorism content has helped. I will not discredit that. It's helped in the sense that we now have women who are able to benefit from pretty privilege, not be undermined in media, and dark-skinned black, monoracially so. And we get to watch them and root for them and support them and give them, brand deals and really hone in behind them. And then we still have haters like this saying that for some reason we have to reject this image too. They do the same thing with Black Girl in Luxury, Soft Life Black Girl. They do the same thing with any pretty privileged black girl. They do it all the time while they embrace other races of women's beauty privileges, and they embrace, just the negative images of black women altogether. So I agree with this commentary, not this commentary of Mayowa, but this Twitter lady saying what she's saying about wanting the banging body of dark-skinned black women to be on the world stage, be in mainstream media. Yes, that's what we're asking for, and we're not going to back down to make this content more relatable. See, a lot of people want the relatable black woman to be the exceptional beauty, and it's just not happening like that. As I've mentioned before, you're going to have exceptional beauty where it belongs in mainstream. And I believe that Olandria is a beautiful Afrocentric woman who deserves her flowers, who deserves her space, because she's going to make an opportunity, because she's been doing very positively. Now, she hasn't crashed out on nobody. She isn't ghetto ratchet. She's not, negatively portraying anybody. Stop hating on pretty privileged black women. Stop trying to conceptualize their existence in this world to make your own existence more easier. No, that's not how this works. If you want pretty privilege, you go get you some pretty privilege. In Mayowa, you have it. If you want to, optimize it, you can do that as well. If you choose not to, that's your choice. But you're not going to neg the pretty privileged black woman on a public space yet again when she helps your image as another dark-skinned woman on media cycle, in the media space. Girl, y'all just be fighting against y'all own selves. Y'all be fighting against yourselves. Okay. That's just what my thoughts are. So that's why, this is an important conversation. I'm here to represent the pretty privileged black women who are accepting their pretty privilege and not running away from it, not hiding in rebellion, not, hiding behind politicism at the end of the day, right? I'm here for the black women who are here for the privileges and their flowers here and now. So, of course, I always talk about be good people. Be holy people. Read the word is for the word. But I'll be back. Bye.